Peace, family, and welcome to the Drapetomaniac podcast. This is Ayapo Yapa, the head Drapetomaniac in charge, and I'm here to have conversations on how to get off this plantation.
Excuse me. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to make sure that you listeners are listening to the Drapetomaniac podcast on doayamedia.com. You are, right?
Power concedes nothing without a demand. That phrase is repeated so often and has become so internalized within our people that I think that we stop taking the time to really examine the implications and the meaning of it because, like most platitudes, it sounds good. For as true as that statement is, just as anything else, context is everything. If dealing with normal human beings with feelings, emotions, and morals, demands can be made, and there can be some kind of a use of leverage or expectation of a positive outcome. But what leverage is there when you're dealing with sociopaths? Sociopaths, by definition, don't feel anything for anyone. And it can be argued that they actually perceive mistreating people as a virtue. But we talk ourselves into believing that the best way to handle them is to work within the system and to play the game, even though we seek to play by the rules that they have put in place, or even at times trying to use their own rules against them. The problem is that no matter what position you're playing on the field, you're still playing the game, their game. Separating is about leaving the game altogether. Just think of the kind of power you have when you're able to walk away and you're not beholden to anyone or connected to anyone or to any system in any way. Now that's power and that's control. That's where you find real power. Now, decades ago, Jesse Jackson gave his Keep Hope Alive speech. I want to talk about the power of giving up hope and the power of separation. Not giving up hope in all things, just giving up hope in the wrong things. One of the best things anyone can do is to realize when they aren't just dealing with a situation that isn't just surmountable, but is impossible to win or to change. That is our present situation as Black people. I have spoken many times on the psychological block we as Black people seem to have as a people when it comes to just admitting that there is absolutely no chance in fixing this system or working within it or even seeing any real justice or anything done as far as our people are concerned. And that the only solution for us is to give up hope in this system and to cut our losses and separate. And I say that all the time, but I know that's a thing that's easier said than done. But that is what must be done. We have to cut our losses and say, you know what? There's no winning in this situation. And all that we have suffered, all that our ancestors have suffered, everything that they have taken and so on. And this is the hard part, but I'm convinced of this, is just looking at it and saying, well, they got away with it. Okay. I'm not going to stay in the game. I'm not going to continue to try to get anything. I'm not going to keep chasing anything. I'm not going to keep chasing the carrot. I'm not going to wait for karma to come get them. I am going to just cut my losses and get the heck out of here. Off this plantation, away from the game. I illustrated in my last podcast how one could have all the hope and the faith in the world in the wrong thing, and it would do them no good. And just a spark of faith or hope in the right thing will carry you to the win. If we have any faith or hope in this system or those who control it, then we have already lost. We're dealing with a system created to promote and perpetuate the myth of white supremacy and in which our failure and marginalization is the very fuel upon which it runs. Then in that type of a system, where is our hope? Where is it? What's our hope? What, that the system can change? That the system can be retrofitted? That those who rule this system will come to their right minds and do what's right? Or that we can somehow force or compel them to do what's right? The only freedom we will ever find will be in releasing ourselves from any hope whatsoever of any of that happening. Part of the problem seems to be our imagined dependence upon this system. We've had it pounded into our minds, both consciously and subconsciously, that there's no way that we can make it without being part of this larger system, even if this system never has and never will work for us. I told my wife the other day that I was going to stop saying that we're living in strange days or strange times, because of everything that's going on. I was constantly saying, oh, these are strange days we're living in or strange times we're living in. The reason that I'm going to stop saying that is because every era and every decade in this country has been strange times for black people. What's stranger than being abducted en masse and enslaved, beaten, raped, forced to work with no compensation, treated like an animal, and with casual disregard as being another person's property? What's stranger than being beaten, hung, hosed down with fire hoses, and with dogs sicked on you and your loved ones and your children, being sworn at and pushed and beaten and lynched just because you want to attend school, eating at a restaurant, or to take a drink at a specific water fountain, or just seeking to be treated with the rights and dignity of any human being? What's stranger than knowing that any moment you can be taken into custody for some minor infraction or nothing at all, or possibly end up dead for the same thing? Just minor infractions, just because you're black. Strange days. Days in this country have always been strange for our people. They just go from one strange to another. What we're dealing with right now is just a different kind of strange. But things have always been strange for us. Always. Separation is the only answer for our people. That and hopelessness. Not hopelessness in all things, as I said before, just hopelessness in ever reconciling with a system that was designed to be against us and to keep our people at the bottom of it. For those who do insist that they want to continue to interact with the people who benefit from this system, that's fine too. Honestly, that's fine. But the only way to ever achieve that truly, ironically, is by separating from them. We're presently seeing the same people who have done everything in their power to hold our people at the bottom, doing and seeking to join forces with us to strike and to start social movements because the rug has been finally pulled out from under them. And they are seeing the government, their government, the government and system which they have always depended upon to give them privilege and access, the system which they have always benefited from. They're starting to see it for what it is. And now they're saying that we all need to come together and fight together. What they're seeing is bought and paid for politicians and so-called leaders who only answer to their corporate masters are the ones that they're actually dealing with. And even at the end, if a movement can cause real change, as black people, we have to be aware that once things are back to normal, quote unquote back to normal, in terms of their normal, and they feel like they once again are in control of things, which was only an illusion in the first place, by the way, they will go back to the status quo, meaning our marginalization and oppression, because they need us oppressed for their system to work. In other words, everyone will ally with us until the crisis is past, and then with us usually on the front lines and doing all we can to fight. Once everything is back to normal, again, quote unquote back to normal, once again we'll get kicked to the curb and everything will become status quo. And they'll look at us once again and they will ask, are you ever not going to fall for this? Thank you for listening to another Drapetomaniac podcast. This is Ayapo Yapa, and I'm the head Drapetomaniac in charge. And as always, I will see you on the run.
And thank you again for listening to the Drapetomaniac podcast. Tune in next week at doiamedia.com. DOEAIAMEDIA.com. And again, we'll catch you on the run.